Hey y'all, it's Jess and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be looking at season 1, episode 2 of, what are we watching? The Never Ever Meets. I forgot what we were watching. So let's get into this. Okay, so this episode we left off with an argument between Dominique and Alexis. So we see a continuation of this argument where Dom was putting his hands on Alexis. And I ain't gonna lie, I was not feeling that at all. I was not feeling him getting up in this girl's face. I wasn't feeling any of that. It was too much. He was doing way too much. So he ended up leaving to go to a hotel for the night, right? And I'm sure, the other castmates, they kind of was just like, this is not cool. This is not how it's supposed to go, So anyway, we see that Shay and Josh, they have like this really strong chemistry and it's showing. So I'm really happy to see that. And then we see like the women and men, like they're discussing the incidents. Like I think it was like the next day they were discussing the incident. And Aaron talks about, I think is that Aaron H? Is his name Aaron H or Aaron J? The older Aaron was talking about how he used to be in an abusive relationship. And I'm like, wow. But you know what? It's rarely talked about, like men being in abusive relationships, by women being abusive to them, because we hear a lot of it. Women are getting abused, but yeah, men are being abused as well. And I appreciated him for sharing that with us about him talking about him being in an abusive relationship with a woman. So he's giving his perspective. He's talking about it, and they all, he says it, but they all tell her like, you shouldn't go back to him. Like, he's shown you his true colors. Like, this is, what if the cameras wasn't rolling? It could have who knows what he'll do behind closed doors, And she said she's never experienced anything like that. Well, girl, let this be your first and your last. Okay. If I was her, I would run. I wouldn't talk to him. Girl, I would block him on everything. Like, we would not talk at all. Period. Do you hear what I say? You hear me? So yeah, no. So she's like, I just don't know if I will talk, we would talk about this, if Dom and Lexus would talk about it. And I'm like, girl, I wouldn't even be trying to talk about it, but that's just me. Maybe she doesn't know how to navigate through situations like this, but for you to not have gone through anything like that, keep it that way. Let this be a last time. So, y'all, I cannot say this lady name, and I figured out who she was when I googled who she was. So I was like, oh yeah, she was in Empire. I haven't really seen Empire, but I seen her in that, and I feel like she was in something else too. I just don't remember what. But anyway, so Taronda and Lexus, they have like a sit down or whatever, and they talk about what went down. So Taronda shows her like this video, and it was basically him apologizing. And y'all, I was just like, he didn't learn from this. Because he was talking about, let's just sweep it under, he apologized and let's just sweep it under the rug. It's really not that big of a deal. Let's put it past us. It's not that deep. Y'all, I wanted to go through this screen. I was like, no, he didn't just try to downplay it like it was not a big deal. This is a big deal. This is a huge deal. You don't feel like, but you know what? I was like, you know what? It's all good. It's all good. I'm like, Lexus, just leave him where he's at. Leave him where he is at, y'all. And even Lexus said she was like, she doesn't like that he's trying to downplay the situation, and he was. Like, this is serious, bro, which is why you got sent home. And ultimately, she has to go because you got sent home. So it is a big deal. If it wasn't a big deal, you would be still in this house, but you're not, So Taronda giving her some words of advice, like she's saying, you don't deserve that. You don't deserve you deserve better. Okay, and what they show you is this is what he showed you. This is who he is. Okay. And that's what they were all saying. Like, he's showing you who he really is. So don't fall for it. You don't deserve that, baby. You don't. And unfortunately, they have a no touching policy. So you got to go. So, with him leaving, she ultimately has to leave as well. It's a shame you weren't talking to another person, because I'd be like, hey, bring my other, man on here. Let's see what we can do with him. Okay. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move forward. So yeah, he's gone, and Lexus lets the people know that the other cast that she gotta go, and the women are sad about it. And so I'm like, it makes, I hate to see you go, but it makes a lot of sense why you can't be here, because it's for couples, But then Dominique in his confessional, he says like, I'm young and this is a character building for me, and he's still gonna be meeting girls online, hit him up. Boy, ain't nobody gonna hit you up after this. I mean, somebody probably will. I ain't gonna lie. It's gonna be somebody out there. He probably gonna slide some DMs, and they probably seen him. And they're gonna be like, you know what? Well, he's not gonna do that to me. You know, I personally would be like, nah, bruh. Tell me something. Hit him up. Do you mean that literally? No, this is a serious matter. This is a serious matter. But no, seriously, this is yeah. Goodbye, Dominic. Goodbye. You know, So yeah, so he's gone, she's gone, and it's so sad to see her gone because I actually think she was. I actually kind of liked her. I think she's a pretty lady, and I hope the best for her as well. So anyway, we move on to Chris and Sandia are talking, right? I don't know how I'm still feeling about Chris. Like, I was not feeling him talking about he's not dating her exclusively. He dates other women, he flirts with other women, and all that other good stuff. So I'm kind of feeling like he's just here for TV. That's how I feel. Um, Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Um, okay, yeah. So they're having a discussion or whatever, and he said he's not flirting with other girls there because she said that you said that you're gonna be flirting with other girls or something like that. He was like, no, I didn't say that because he said he doesn't find any of them attractive. I'm like, dang, that's messed up. I mean, I think they're pretty. But anyway, that's your preference, okay? And so yeah, so he says that, and he was like, because she was like, you said that to the guys or whatever, and she feels like he doesn't think before he speaks. Like he said that, you F a girl on the first night, and she didn't like that he said that. Like he says whatever comes to his mind, and he was like, and I'm gonna continue to say whatever comes to my mind. Like he has this thing. He said that he has this thing where he doesn't trust women, and he's here to build the trust with her. Huh. Okay. And I'm not gonna lie, his actions of the things that he was saying that he doing all the other good stuff, to me it kind of shows that he doesn't trust women, and to me it kind of makes me feel like he's a um I hate to say this, but an F boy. Because if you talking about, he said, I flirt with all these girls. I'm not in a exclusive relationship with her. I F all these girls. I F them on the one night I leave them. Because remember the first episode, he said that he'll give a girl attention for like 3 weeks or 2 weeks and then he gone. Like what? What kind of? Yeah, I don't. It's games. Anyway, so yeah, but he said he's had to build trust with her, and apparently she's like, oh yeah, it's a flame, all that good stuff. Um, so it's just I don't know. That's why I said like he makes me like ugh when I see him like oh my god ugh. So she's just basically like we're just like two strangers. Okay, got it. And he calls her. He says like you're too emotional and it's kind of like overwhelming. And I'm like why would you say that to her? Okay, why would you say that? And he's like I'm not gonna change like whatever comes to my mind. And she's just like I just don't want to look bad. And he's like I'm not trying to make you look bad. Are you sure? Because you saying stuff like this, it makes her look bad in my opinion. But then he's like, you're acting like a big baby. And she's like, stop it. I'm not a big baby. And I'm like, okay, but I guess they're good. Okay. I guess so. Because she's just like, as long as he acknowledged my feelings and apologized and we can move forward, she's good. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, look, it's not my relationship. That's what y'all do. That's what y'all do. Whatever makes you happy, Sandia. Whatever makes you happy. But anyway, moving on. So they're in this hot tub. Aaron H is in a hot tub and he's joined by Millie and Greg. So they're like, why Joanna ain't up here out here with us and you and all that other good stuff. And he's like, listen. I like to give each other other space. And I like that she's not clingy. And I like to like that she gives me my space. And I'm just like, no, because Joanna said that you asked her and she was just like, no, she's not coming out there because it's cold. This relationship is kind of interesting to me because to me it doesn't feel like they are into each other. I feel like maybe he was into her a lot more than she is because in the first date she just kept complaining about a lot of things and it was kind of annoying actually. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, all right, because she declined. She didn't want to come to the hot tub, and so that was that. And I'm like, not me, because my man said, babe, let's go to the hot tub. Okay, all right, let's go. I'm ready whenever you are, But that's just me. Anyway, so the next day they had, or is it the next day or same day? I'm gonna say next day. They have a meeting with Taronda and they talk about the boom boom room. So apparently there's a boom boom room there. She introduces that. So, if you want to go get them cheeks clapped and slapped and all that other good stuff, there you go. Have at it, ladies and gentlemen. So then, like, this activity that they're doing is called the Kama Sutra. I've never heard of that, honestly, until this. And I was like, oh, a Kama Sutra. That sounds kind of interesting. So basically, they're going to be exploring different sexual positions. And she'll present them like two cards or two sexual positions on a card, and you pick one. And then you have to talk about, like, what are you feeling in this moment with your person. So up first, we have Chris and Sandia, and they chose the lotus position. And they're looking into each other's eyes, and they say how they feel about their connection, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I ain't gonna lie. Let me get me a man. I'm gonna do this. I want to see how it goes. Like, let me just see how we can connect. Can we connect like this? Are we gonna be sexually connected? I'm gonna see. But anyway, Shay and her man, they go up next, and they do like their position. But it's so funny because she was like, oh, we've already done these two positions already. They they chose the curl angel, and so they was like, it really felt natural to them. And I honestly, like, these two, I feel like they might make it. Like, I actually like their connection with each other. They just, I mean, with 12 years, that's a long time. That is a very long time. So I can kind of see that this is like their next step. So yeah, so I can see how it felt natural to, I mean, it kind of looked natural to them. It just looked like, this is my man, I'm hers, he's mine, kind of thing. So then next up we have Joanna, and we have Aaron J. I'm gonna call him AJ. So AJ, they're up next. They do like they see like the different poses, and so they rock paper scissor it out. And I'm like, okay. So Joanna, cause she wanted to do landslide, so they got a chance to do landslide because I guess she won. So she does landslide. I mean, they both do landslide, and they just feel like the group feels like there's no connection there between them. And honestly, I can see that. I can feel that. But I can see there's no connection right there. I mean, I saw even before they did the positions. Like, there's nothing there between them, right? It's really not. I mean, like, they even chose a position. I mean, she chose a position that they don't even have to look at each other. Even though Shay and what's his name? Shay and Josh, even though they chose a position that was like that, but it was kind of like they were like Josh was still facing her and he was like holding her and cuddling her. I feel like that's kind of different. But yeah, their position is like they wasn't even looking at each other, and she said it doesn't necessarily. Sorry, she said that it doesn't necessarily mean like they don't have a connection if they're not looking at each other. Like, it kind of, even though they aren't looking at each other, she feels like they still have like a connection. And Aaron's just like, well, I'm poking, so we good. Which is, this what I'm saying, like, there's nothing there. For me, I feel like there's nothing there between them, but I could be wrong, Who am I? So next we have Millie and Greg, and they chose the eagle. Okay. So Millie and Greg, I kind of like them too, but I feel like something is off with them as well. I'm just not sure what. So Greg, she gets in like the position, and then Greg grabs her legs and starts to pull. And they like, whoa, wait a minute. It was gonna. She about to like, wait, you can't just do that. And I'm like, oh Lord, Greg was like, hey, let me slide up in them guts. So Greg says he feels like he's connecting like mentally and physically, and he's ready to move on to that next step. But she says she's like, I guess she meant like he has to get her mental first before they go to that next step. Because she pointed to her head, so I'm assuming it's like, okay, he has to have, I guess, connect. They have to connect mentally. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. So next up we have Diamond and Aaron H. Okay, so they chose the splitting bamboo, and Aaron says like he feels like I'm in control, but she's also in control. Like, when I tell you, it just looks so natural with them, because he was like, we could be like, that's one thing that he likes about Diamond, is that like they're comfortable anywhere they go. Like, he can take her shoes off in public in the middle of the street, suck her toes, and she be like, it is what it is. Like, let's do it. I'm like, okay, but it did look like really natural to them. So all right, I can see a connection with them. So then we move on to Sienna and Brandon. So Sienna told him, she was like, okay, we're gonna do the ship. And it was like, dang, like you're not gonna talk it out first. You just gonna make the decision for him. And she's like, no, no. And so Taronda, because yeah, Taronda was like, you just gonna tell him what to do. And then it was like when she was doing it, she was like, you seem agitated. And she was like, no, I'm not. And she said she not, but it was a little off between them, okay? And so she said she didn't feel anything. And so and so Taronda was like, do you feel like a little tingly? Like a little thing? She was like, yeah, a little bit. And he was just like, I just feel like I'm just about to watch TV. I'm bored. Child, when he said that, I was like, you look it too. You look like you are bored. And she don't look like she's interested as well. But when she said that, she was like, she feels nothing sexually happening to him. And she's trying to be vulnerable. But he's saying bored, it threw her mood off. But I was like, I thought your mood was already off. Right? Because you said you felt nothing. So the mood was already off when you when you did the position. It was, okay, Sienna. I was like, okay. So, and then to kind of find out she chose that position because she said it was easy to get into. And I like what Taronda was saying, like, this takes work. Why are you choosing something easy? It takes work. I think I understand what they both mean by that. I probably would have chose the more, I don't know what I would have chose, honestly. I can't even say what I would do in that moment. I can't. I was going to say I probably would have chose the complicated one, but I would have talked out with my partner and see what we can make something like, what can we do? Let's make it shake. But anyway, he said he doesn't feel that sexual connection there. And again, we can tell. We can tell. So anyway, so they go back to the house and Millie and Greg are talking about like their intimacy. And Millie says she like really wants it to happen naturally and organically. Let's take their time. And I get that. I definitely get that. And I respect that too. And I like that he respects that. But he was like, when it's time, baby, it is time. And I get that as well. The time has come. That's how I feel like he would be like, the time has come. So anyway, Brandon and Sienna are talking. Y'all, it actually just is interesting to me. So Sienna's like talking about like him coming to New York and her not coming to Florida. I guess like moving to New York and she doesn't want to go to Florida. But then Brandon says like he feels like there's an inconsistency with their conversations because it's like one minute she's like, oh yeah, I'll do this. Next one she's like, oh no, I won't do this. It's like she's flip-flopping. Because she was just like in the video thing that we saw, she was just saying that, oh, I'm flexible about moving. I can go to Florida or whatever, all that other stuff. But now she's saying, no, I'm not coming to Florida. I don't like Florida. I'm going to go to Florida. Florida, what? No. And he tells her that. He tells her, like, you're very inconsistent. You flip-flop. And she says, you're the third person, like the second or third person to say that. And I'm like, what? So you do this then. Because if more than one people are saying this, it must be true. Maybe. And so he's like, whoa, that's like a red flag. That scares me. It would scare me too, because I would have been like, so this is you. That's something that you don't like and you don't want to deal with it. I would deal with it. But that's just me. So then he also tells her, like, she doesn't listen to him and that she overtalks him. And y'all, she ended up calling that man a B. She was like, you're a B. I-T hard C-H. And I was like, why are you calling this man a B-I-T hard C-H? That's not cool, yo. And so he kind of laughing about it, whatever. And she was like, I feel like you're inconsistent because you have kids with multiple people and you had a broken marriage and then you went and had another kid and that didn't work. Okay. Here's the thing about that. Like, he got married when he got this girl pregnant, I think, and he got married when he was 20 and he ended up getting divorced at 21. Y'all, he was super young. And honestly, I don't think that it's okay for her to like kind of hold that over his head to say something like that. And then he said he had another kid 10 years later. So I'm assuming like at the age of 30, he had another kid or whatever. I mean, he is a grown man then. But I guess like obviously that relationship didn't work. Like, people have failed relationships, So they ended up going to the kitchen and they ended up finishing the conversation in front of the group, which I was like, why do we have to talk in front, have this conversation amongst the group members or whatever. But, for television story purposes, we will. For drama purposes, I like to say. So anyway, So yeah, they finish up having that conversation around the other people, and she tells him about like how he's about his inconsistency or whatever, and how he doesn't want to stay in a marriage and make it work. And I'm like, she's one of those people that's like, I get married, I have to stay with you even if I'm unhappy, even if you do this, you do that. No, we're gonna stay and we're gonna make it work. And I don't agree with that at all. Like, if you marry somebody and you know that you've tried and it's just not working, why would you continue to still be in a miserable place? Why? I mean, that's kind of like, I mean, I get like marriage is it is a very important commitment. However, some people it just doesn't work out. And I don't think that it's fair for them to stay to try to make it work. And if it's not working, you know? So she feels like that it's bogus that he walked away from the marriage and it shows he has commitment issues. And I'm like, girl, he was 20. He was young. He was not a baby, but like he was like super young. And even the women are telling him, like, I think it was Joanna. She was like, he was 20. He didn't grow up like 3 times. She is right about that, because I'm like, he was 20 years old at the time. Like, he's 35 now. Like, he is a grown man, right? He's not the same as he was when he was 20. So to compare him saying that he has this when he was 20 years old versus a 35-year-old, that's not fair to say. He's different. I hope he's different. He better not be the same as he was when he was 20 years old, because we grow. We're constantly growing. Like, when he turns 45, he's not going to be the same as he was when he was 35. And I'm pretty sure she's not the same as when she was 35. Ain't she 45? Or 43, 42? I don't know. She's in her 40s. You're not the same as when you was in your 30s. That's what I'm trying to say. Or your 20s. You grow. And I didn't like that. But I didn't like that she was saying it. I didn't like that. And so I remember, I can't remember which woman said this to her, but it was like, don't you have failed relationships? Don't you have failed relationships? I think it was Millie. And she was like, yeah, but I wasn't in a marriage. But they still failed. So anyway, Greg and Millie are talking to, so Greg is talking to Sienna and Millie is talking to Brandon. They're talking about the situation. And this thing I did not like either, because Sienna got, she walked upstairs to get in the bed and she saw that Millie was talking to Greg behind her back, and she said she didn't like that. But I'm like, ma'am, you just did the same thing. What? Are you okay? This does not feel normal to me. You literally was sitting up here talking to Greg about the situation, but then you get upset. To Greg about the situation, but then you get upset that Millie is talking to Brandon about the situation. Girl, pick a flip or a flop. Pick one. You can't be doing both. How you gonna contradict yourself? I was like, oh my gosh. I don't think she realize like the things that, y'all, I don't know. Anyway, that was that episode. Next week, or this Friday, I'm very much interested to see what's going to happen. If they're going to stay or are they going to go. Like, honestly, if I was him, I would just go my separate way, honestly. But that's just me. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me today. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments about this episode. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.